Courtney, if you'd like, you can come up. Your item will be the first one.
Okay. Where do you?
You can.
It's
start.
where- oh, okay.
Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Rocio Mejia, and we're gonna go ahead and start today's PRC meeting for Wednesday, February 19, 2025. And I will start with city staff roll call. Again, my name is Rocio Mejia. I am the assistant planner. We have online Jeff O'Neill as our city planner. Here in the meeting room, we have Oscar Cepeda as the associate planner, Garrett Keller as our planning technician. Online, we also have for field services, Brianna Spry as the superintendent for refuse. We have Arthur Demerath for parks. He's our park superintendent. Do you want to scroll?
Yeah.
We have Javier Sanchez, engineering and project management director. Here in the meeting room, we have Clayton Dignam, our fire marshal, and Cheyenne Kyle, our fire inspector. Joe Baeza for public works, field services superintendent for streets. David Payne, water utility superintendent. Robert Alvarez, our field services manager. Michael Knight joins us today here, our assistant city manager and also public works director. And James Wickersham as our chief building official. And I believe, oh, Mark Acevedo, I'm sorry, for our police department lieutenant. Did I miss anyone or did we get everyone there?
Yeah.
We have everyone. Okay, thank you. We have a full house today. Okay, so thank you again. We will start with oral communications. This is the opportunity for public members to address the committee on any matter related to project review. Okay, are there any comments from anyone online? Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and start with the first item. Today here we have PRC 2025-009 Rosenberger parcel map. The applicant and agent, Courtney Rosenberger. The applicant is proposing a residential parcel map to subdivide an existing 1.53 acre property into 2 total parcels. The subject property is located at 1966 North Newcomb Street, Unit A, the APN number 243-260-028. The site is currently developed with 2 existing residents on site and 1 accessory structure. The property is zone RS1, very low density residential, and has a general plan land use designation of low density residential. So we will start with planning comments. Okay, so the comments for planning, they're standard comments. I'll just go in order of the comments that we have here. So the developer applicant shall submit a tentative map that shall comply with section 402.01 of the development code for map filing procedure and requirements. Next, the developer applicant shall comply with section 402.02 in the form of map and content, meaning that it will need to be prepared by a registered civil engineer or licensed land surveyor. Also, the developer and applicant shall provide a lot division design that is appropriate and adequate for access. Some of these options may include proposing a flag lot or a recordation of an easement that complies with city standards. Okay. The following fees will be required to be submitted for a tentative parcel map application. The tentative parcel map fee is $1,500. An environmental fee for notice of exemption for $79. A county filing fee with a check made payable to the county clerk for $58. Also noticing map and labels for 300-foot radius from property for $26.50. Also, this project requires review by the parcel map committee at a public hearing. The notice will need to be published in a newspaper minimum of 10 days in advance of that meeting. The final parcel map shall comply with section 40501 of the Porterville Development Ordinance. And the following fees are required to be submitted at the time of the final parcel map application. A final map fee of $955. In addition, the map will need to comply with section 201 for residential districts in the Porterville Development Ordinance. Also for section 400.05, exceptions to regulations pertaining to the lot, depth, and width may be permitted without a conditional use permit application as determined by the zoning administrator. And it shall be processed in conjunction with the tentative map. Exceptions from design standards and or standards pertaining to the lot design within the particular zones may still require a conditional use permit, okay? And I believe those are all the comments from the planning division. Did you have any questions in regards to those comments?
I don't think so. No.
Okay,
I just wanted to point out too that the lot width part was the 60. So normally the standard is 90 for that zone district, and then the lot depth is over 2.5 times the width. So that was the other one, but that can be varied as Rocio
as a
mentioned,
conditional.
Okay.
possibly with a conditional use permit, or if the zoning administrator, who's our community development director, determines that that's not necessary because it's not a significant thing, then it wouldn't be
Then
required.
it would just go in together with the tentative map.
Okay.
Thank you. We can move on to Clayton.
Yeah.
For fire.
So with regard to a parcel split, the fire department has no comment with regard to that. However, as you intend, or if you intend to develop this split lot, you will probably face some issues meeting fire department access and water hydrants, that kind of stuff, distancing and stuff like that. But
Okay.
those would be reviewed at that time
Okay.
under the building permit portion
Yeah.
of things. But as far as the lot split is concerned, we have no comment.
Yeah, because there's an additional house behind me already, so there's gonna be, so I mean, I would be in between those. So.
Right, but
Yeah.
if you started to improve that, you would have to improve access.
Got it.
Thank you, Clayton.
Okay, good question. Okay. There's an 18-foot easement there.
The 18, yeah, so what we would discuss is at that time is the minimum is a 20-foot for fire department access. It would have to be a hard surfaced access. If it exceeds, which it will exceed 150 feet, it'll have to have a turnaround at some point designated.
Okay.
Whether that be on your property or the people behind you give access for the turnarounds, when we can look at that stuff if you want some ideas, you know, and those kind of things.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I mean, I was pushing, I am gonna develop, but I was gonna push it all the way far to the south, and so that upper piece right behind the shop basically would be access for your turnaround, I guess, in a sense.
yeah, so what we would do is that 20-foot would go in and we could do an alternative to the hammerhead where we would turn in and then turn back into the driveway and drive out.
Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we could absolutely do something like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. We can go on to comments from engineering with Javier Sanchez.
Thanks, Rocio. Just wanted to get an idea of that. Where does the lot line end up? Does it bisect that structure in the back, or is it on one side or the other?
The other map.
245,
And it's
14 minutes, 45. Oh, this one, the parcel map?
No, the one the applicant submitted.
Oh, yeah. True.
and just 14, because yeah, I see that's the existing parcel size, but when it's so minus 60 feet,
So I think this was the map for the actual proposed lot. So this is the overall map right here, and then this would be the lot that is created with a possible development on it. And so this would be the access road, and then the top portion where my mouse is over here is would be the structure would be on the other side.
So it's gonna be on the east side, the lot line is gonna be on the east side of the structure.
254 feet.
You want me to share the city GIS map, or is that would that be beneficial at all, or?
The no, I was just trying to get an idea of that. It does land just east of that structure.
So the access to the property in the back, is that, I'm assuming then that's just an easement, right?
Currently, it's currently it's an 18-foot easement.
Okay,
Yeah, the only thing we'd look at is you might have to plot that structure to make sure that proper setbacks are met from that proposed lot line. And the only improvements would be on the newly created parcel, which is shown as lot 2. So with them not having any frontage, there wouldn't be any frontage requirements on Newcomb, but we'd have to make sure everybody's on city services, water and sewer. If they're not already hooked up, they would have to be hooked up prior to recording the parcel map. So that's all engineering has on this one.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask, so my unit now is on septic, the front. It is all on city water. The assumption is to take a temporary easement there from the south side of the lot. That's where the water meter and everything is. And then tie in to city sewer and then run sewer water all the way back to the new proposed lot at the same time.
The meter right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Will the existing have to tie into city sewer?
Yes.
That would need to be done. And it's on that side too, so
It all works.
it would just work all at the same time to just do it all. So yeah, I kind of figured that would need to be done.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure to disclose that so that's not doesn't come up later and then it's a surprise, you know. So well, luckily you're extending that far back and that it just be a T into the existing home and hopefully the connection point is close there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's right there, just on the edge of the house, but
Okay.
I don't know where the connection is. I think it's just right there.
Okay.
I had a brief question. I had a brief question just while we're looking at the street view. So it looks like there's 2 existing backflow devices. Is there a well on this property?
There is
Is the well still being utilized?
no. I haven't utilized it. I don't know anything about it at all. If it needs to be filled in or capped or removed, I can do that.
Well, I mean, it's you know, we have policies against establishing service on properties that have wells.
Right.
But you're essentially paying I think it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, but it's like $17 a month just to have those there on your service because of the well's existence.
Mm.
If you're developing in the area of the well, it may be beneficial to you to abandon the well, for one, to free up property, but another to remove any requirement of the existing backflow devices or the potential requirement of additional backflow devices for this development.
Yeah, that would be fine. I'd be willing to do that. It's not a problem.
Just a comment, once we've seen this on the street view, it would have come up later, but a good point of discussion.
Sure.
Thank you, Mike. Did you have any additional comments, Javier?
No, that was all.
Okay,
Garrett, can you go to that north driveway?
thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
Did you have any questions for Javier Courtney?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we got everything.
So I know that it's an 18-foot easement, but it looks like we should be able to get 20 feet in there if you need it.
Yeah, I figured if
Okay. It might
every,
require some trimming of the trees.
Yeah.
It's gotta be 20 feet by 13.6 and then we're good.
yeah, it's completely fine.
Okay, so moving the mailboxes may be a different approach, but all of that will come when you decide to develop.
Thank you. James, did you have any comment?
Can you hear me, Rocio?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Yeah, no comments on this one.
Thank you, James. Okay, for Public Works? Robert?
No comment.
No comment, thank you. David? For water utility?
I believe Javier and Michael Knight covered all the water and sewer comments. Thank you.
Yeah, that's why I was like, do we still, okay, how about for, Brianna, for refuse?
The comments that I have would be in regards to developing that, or if it would be residential houses. A trash truck is not, I don't think it's gonna be able to service at each residence. The cans would have to be brought out to the street.
I mean, that's the way it is now.
Yeah, it's just getting around that back building there is gonna be a little
Mhm.
tight. You can see those mailboxes being
Yeah.
plowed over.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you, Brianna. Joe, for streets?
No comments from streets.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Mark, for the police department?
No comments.
Okay, thank you, Mark. And, Arthur, for park?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. Did we get everyone's comments? Okay. I believe those are all the comments, so you should be receiving these comments in a letter.
Okay.
In a couple weeks.
Great.
The next, level of the submittal would be the tenant parcel map application with the
Okay.
fees.
Yeah, I've already talked to an engineer, and so I'll get that
Okay,
started. Yeah,
thank you, and we look forward to
Alright.
seeing that
Okay.
project.
all right, fantastic. Thank you, guys.
You can
Appreciate
stay
it.
if you like. Or-
Just real quick, when you wanna think about that.
Yeah.
This is the alternative that I was talking about, that's in the fireplace, so if you do it, they said. So basically, on the side of this 28 feet, so it goes in there and then back in, so we require like the let's back into their pocket a little bit and then go out.
I wonder, because I have that big turn radius like on my place, could I just give it to you, or because it's in the front of where we're going?
So long as beyond this.
You guys wanna come up here?
Your item is the next one for the temple.
Threshold is from our ability to turn around. It won't be crossed if we did it. We can there needs to be another turn. So yes, if it can be facilitated, or we turn on us within 150 feet of the tail end. But we can talk about that when we get ready.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, so the next item that we have is PRC 2025-010 for Temple of Praise, CUP modification. The applicant, Temple of Praise Christian Fellowship, and the agent Wayne B. Picard Senior. The applicant is requesting modification number 2 to conditional use permit PRC 2017-060C for resolution number 06-2021 in relation to a refuse enclosure for Temple of Praise Christian Fellowship. The subject site is located at 22213 Avenue 152 and is within the RM3 High Density Residential Zone District, and it has a general plan land use designation of high density residential. So we're gonna have Garrett present the comment for planning.
So there will be a small amount of fees. It'll be 150 for the modification of the conditional use permit, 79 for the environmental fee. Most likely it'll be able to do a notice of exemption. And the county filing fee would be 58. And then there is the option to have us do the radius map for 2650. And I can share those with you directly as well.
We'll give them.
That way you have
credit.
them. So as with, we've already know with this project, any type of modification to the conditional use permit in the future, we'll need to come back and get approval. If there's any substantial change, then that would need approval as well. And there is typically a 2-year time limit on when you start enacting that, but you guys are already occupying the site, so I don't believe that would be super applicable. One of the conditions that I know was kind of a issue was with building permits, just making sure that we have all the necessary permits and those get finalized out. Any past building permits, that those are finalized as well. As for the trash enclosure, amongst ourselves, we were speaking with the planners. There still will need to be some sort of enclosure. It may not necessarily be a 3-bin trash enclosure, but any non-residential building is required to have a enclosure of some sort. So that would just be somewhere to store the cans. So it would just have to be able to fit the can service if refuse is okay with the can service, which we will get to. But it should be about 8 by 4 feet for the interior dimensions. I believe a single bin enclosure. So there is already a standard single bin enclosure that can be provided by the city that you could utilize there. But for planning, we would require still some sort of enclosure. It just may not be
Is that
Big
would
triple
be
bin.
a permanent enclosure or?
yeah, it would have to be a permanent enclosure, the block and the landscaping, and then to match the outside of the building, it looks like it's like kind of an off-white color. Maybe some textured block or just at least painting it and then providing a little landscape planter, 3-foot landscape planter around the outside. And I'll make sure that I put that 3-foot landscape planter in there. Other than that, any signage, temporary or permanent, making sure that you guys get a permit for it. And that would be pretty much everything from planning.
Thank you, Garrett. Did you have any comments or planning comments that were provided?
We just need the specification for that one.
Yes, that will be included in the letter.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
where the planner should go.
So basically the planner would go on the outside. I believe on the original plans, I don't have the building permit, but
Yeah,
it was supposed to go somewhere in here, correct?
Right.
So I mean, you could just use this already put in concrete possibly, as the back of your pad, load up the blocks around it and utilize that landscape planner partially.
Right.
And then maybe have a 3-foot landscape planner around the outsides. Obviously not in front. And I believe there is something for the fencing material would need to be metal, I believe.
The gate?
Oscar?
The gate.
Metal gate?
Metal.
Yeah,
Metal gate.
the metal gate, yeah,
For the closer to the.
yeah, so a metal gate with the block wall is, or not block wall, but the block construction.
Oh, it can be made out of, it doesn't have to be made out of block, it can be made out of wood or whatever?
No, it'd have to be, I believe it has to be block.
Block, okay.
Yeah.
And,
It's just not the first one, we have the.
Yeah, but
Yes, it's
smaller,
small.
much smaller.
yeah, it's just gonna be for the trash cans,
Right.
right?
Trash cans instead of
The big bin.
bins,
Correct.
but like I said, that's not really our decision to make. We're gonna have to go to refuse to have them comment on that. But if that is allowed, then we would go with still have to have that enclosure. That's all we were saying. Yeah, so I guess we should.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we can move on to Brianna for refuse so that we can tie into the same comment.
Yeah, I'm fine with the commercial can service. They would just still have to be brought out to the street for service.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Brianna. Okay, so then with Javier for engineering.
No comments from engineering on this one.
Okay, thank you, Javier.
Javier, I did have a question for you. You guys do have a standard like an 8x4 like single bin pre-engineered plan, right?
Like for a block.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's an old standard we can still pull up.
yeah. If you wouldn't mind, could you send that over to us and then we could share that with them after the meeting?
Sure.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
With Clayton for fire,
Fire has no comment.
thank you. Any comments from building with James?
No, I think he covered it. It would just have to be at least 5 feet away from the building, which I believe it is, or would be.
Thank you, James. Robert for field services, for water,
No comment.
okay, and David?
No, it looks like they have a backflow device on the existing water meters, so no comments from water.
Thank you. Joe, did you have any comments for streets?
No comments for street.
Thank you. Mark, with the police department,
No comments.
thank you. And Arthur for parks,
No comment.
okay, thank you. I believe. Mike, did you have any comments? I'm not used to having you here.
I'm just
Sorry.
sitting in, and no,
Okay.
no comments.
All right, thank you, Mike. Did you have any other comments, or questions? Okay,
So you'll be,
so we will be providing these comments, compiling other comments from all of the departments, and they will be provided to you in the letter.
okay,
And, so,
you'll be getting, the structure.
So if you guys want to write down the fees, I mean, obviously you don't have to pay them right now, but it's gonna look exactly like this, and then Javier's gonna get with us to send over the,
That's just-
so no,
I'm
just
gonna
if you
look
wanted
for-
to check out the fees real quick, because I know you were wanting to write them down.
You can give us a second, please?
No, the fees
On
are
the
right
very
there,
bottom?
right on the bottom.
Okay, all these, 150, 79, and 58.
Yeah, and then we'll send over the standard for the
For the trash enclosure.
the trash enclosure, yeah.
Hey, Garrett.
Yes,
Hey, I just want to be clear for the applicant to call in for inspections on the footings once they're ready.
yeah.
So once you start the construction, make sure you reach out to the building division for inspections for the
Before
footing.
you before you pour the concrete footing, yeah.
Okay, I think the concrete's already there, the sidewalk you're talking about, we just put it on there already.
And for planning as well,
No.
like that won't happen until we have to take it for the modification to the conditional use permit first, and then you guys can move forward with the building permit, just because technically it is in the conditional use permit, it has to be the 3-bin, so we need to change that, so then you can move forward
Okay.
with the permit. And James, it'll sound like you had something that you wanted to add on as well?
Well, I heard him mention that the existing concrete, that's just flat work. So the detail that you will get for the single bin enclosure will actually have a footing detail. So basically below grade concrete. So that's what we will need to inspect before you pour it. And if you have any questions, once it goes to council and gets approved, and then once you call or want to start, if you have any questions before you even start, we can meet you out there.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
James.
You're welcome.
There has to be a deck.
Yes, there's certain requirements,
Yeah.
and that'll be in the information that Javier will provide.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
And
Thank
for
you.
us, we'll just need a site plan just to see where you guys are gonna put it and then verify, well, you won't need to verify with Fairview, so you'll just be walking them out. But
Right.
we'll still need to check the site plan, make sure it's all good for setbacks and everything.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. So if you don't have any more questions, we look forward to seeing this project. Once we get it approved, then we'll submit for building permit. Okay?
Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, Gary. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Take care.
Thank you, Pastor.
See you guys.
Hey, Barry. Okay, so we will continue with the next item for PRC 2025-011.
I think he's in the Zoom.
Yeah.
Would you rather me walk down there?
We thought you'd be here by now.
We thought you were gonna do that.
I didn't know, I thought it was Zoom only.
Oh, no.
Could be either way. I mean, we
You
can,
wanna-
if you actually want to come in person, we could shift you to the back and move on to the next project.
Yeah, let's do that. I'll be down there in a minute.
All right.
Sounds
Okay,
good.
thank you. So do you wanna go?
Okay.
You get paid by the job or by the hour?
What,
He's gonna walk down to the restaurant.
Rocio, just note for the
Wait a
record.
minute, you're on the wrong side of the table.
We couldn't hear you, sorry.
Hold on, hold
Are
on.
you consulting on the side now?
All right, what were you saying, Jeff?
Just note for the record that we're modifying the agenda to switch these two items to allow for the item number 3 applicant to be in person instead of on Zoom. So
Okay,
that's all.
thank you. Okay, so we will just switch the order of the items. There's still the PRC numbers are not changing, it's just the order to allow for the applicant to come in person rather than online. Okay, so the next item that we will go over will be 2025-012. Lara parcel map.
So there's 1 and 2, so this this is an F2, but there's no.
We'll go ahead and start with PRC 2025-012 Lara parcel map. The applicant Ruby Lara and also the agent. The applicant is proposing a preliminary residential parcel map to subdivide an existing 9.85 acre property into 2 total parcels. The subject property is located at 679 East Mulberry Avenue, APN 248-080-018. The site is currently developed with 1 residence and 2 accessory structures on the eastern portion of the property. The property is zoned RS2, low density residential, and has a general plan land use designation of low density residential. And we will begin with the planning comments. The developer or applicant shall submit a tentative parcel map and shall comply with section 402.01 for map filing procedure and requirements in preparation and submittal of the tentative map. The developer applicant shall comply with section 402.02 form of map and contact, which shall be prepared by a registered civil engineer or licensed land surveyor. The following fees are required at the time of submittal for a tentative parcel map. Tentative parcel map fee of $1,500. An environmental fee for notice of exemption for $79. A county filing fee of $58 made payable to Tulare County Clerk. And then the noticing map and labels as an option for 300-foot radius from the property for $26.50. This project does require a review by the Parcel Map Committee at a public hearing, and the notice must be published in the newspaper a minimum of 10 days in advance of the hearing. The final parcel map shall comply with section 405.01. And the following fees are required at the time of submittal for a final parcel map. The final map fee of $955. In addition, the development will need to comply with section 201 of the Porterville Development Ordinance for residential districts. And those are all the comments for planning. Did the applicant? SB9, it's too low. Okay, did the applicant have any questions or comments for planning? Ruby, can you hear us?
Yes, no, I don't have any questions. The only questions I have is I will be getting something in the mail with all the fees and all the requirements.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
And there, you could possibly look into SB 9 for this project if you're interested in that. I believe it's about 41%, so you are allowed like a 60/40. Let me just double check the zoning. What was the zoning again?
RS2.
Yeah, RS2, so it isn't a single family residential. So that could be a possibility for you that might make certain things a little easier for you,
You'll
but
just need to modify it a bit.
yeah. And we'll include that in the comment letter.
First thing.
Okay, Javier, did you have any comments for engineer?
Yeah, I have a couple, let me see. The proposed parcel map, again, none of these would be triggered until a building permit is pulled. But what will be needed would be curb gutter and sidewalk at the time of development. There's also a need to extend utilities. Well, I'll finish up on the street comment. With the curb and gutter, that would mean that the street would have to be paved out to match that curb and gutter. If you go a little bit west to like where the houses are built, that's what I'm discussing right now. So the street would have to get a little bit wider to finish the roadway. And yeah, kind of where that ends on the subdivision. And the hope is that there isn't, that those utility poles are in a good spot so they don't trigger any additional costs to relocate. Obviously because those can't end up in the middle of the road. So yeah, the curb gutter sidewalk and the pave out to go from existing road to the new curb gutter. And then unfortunately sewer and water ends right where your property begins. So again, once the building permit is pulled, it would be required to extend water and sewer lines in the roadway across the frontage of the property being developed. These are they're not master plan lines, and so it would be fully at the cost of the developer. We do have like we could set up like a 10-year payback agreement that if somebody else develops, they would pay into this fund and then be able to reimburse you. But if nobody develops within the 10-year time frame, then that cost ends up fully being on the developer, which is you in this case. And then there wouldn't be any form to get paid back for those improvements. And then other item would just be street lights. Yeah. So I don't know if there's any questions with that, but that's all of engineering's comments.
Thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
Ruby, did you have questions for engineering with Javier's comments?
No, at the moment, I'm not thinking of development. I was just thinking of first getting it, parceled out and then development would come later. I am aware of everything Javier said. As he's the one that pretty much kind of guided me on this. So, that's why I'm taking just like one step at a time. First parceling out and then, maybe development, but, I am aware of everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Okay, next, with Clayton for fire comments.
Fire has no comment for a lot split, just you'll have to comply with all applicable codes when you develop.
Okay. Thank you, Clayton. James, did you have any comments?
No comments.
Thank you, James. Mike, did you have any comments?
No comments.
Okay. Robert, did you have any comments?
No comments.
Thank you, Robert. David,
No comment.
thank you. Brianna, with
No
records? Thank you. Joe with streets?
No comments.
Thank you. Mark with the police department?
No comments.
Thank you. And Arthur for parks?
No comments.
Okay, thank you, Arthur. Okay. Okay, Ruby, so that concludes all the comments from the departments. The next level submitted would be the tentative parcel map application with the corresponding fees. And you will receive these comments in a letter compiled with all the department's comments in a couple of weeks. We look forward to seeing your project. Thank you for your submittal.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay if you like. We have the next item that we move till the end for PRC 2025-011 for Main Street Brewery. The applicant Sam Sens and the agent Gary Weaver. The applicant is proposing a brewery with a bar. The subject property is located at 152 North Main Street, APN 253-187-007. The property is zoned downtown retail north of Olive, and it has a general plan land use designation of downtown retail with an overlay of the downtown. And Gary will present the comments for the planning division.
So I think on pre-PRC, we decided that it was going to be a bar/restaurant with a brewery just to help satisfy with land uses. I know that there was some discussions about the type of alcohol license. That if you were to do a type 75, that it could do it all in one. But I do remember you had said something about not wanting to have liquor there. So obviously that places an additional burden on you. So we'll have to obviously get together and discuss all the different alcohol license types that you're thinking of doing. The fees, standard conditional use permit fee, 1,164. Environmental fees, be probably a notice of exemption, $79. And then the county filing fee is 58. And then of course you can have the option to do your own radius map, or we can do it for you for $26.50. And that's just a requirement for the public hearing notices. It is in the Census Tract 3802, which is over concentrated currently, but all that would be required is a public letter of public necessity and convenience from the city council, which would be handled basically at the same time as a conditional use permit. All of these standard conditional use permit requirements that we normally do would apply, like similar to the businesses that are already in operation with the alcohol permits regarding, consumption of alcohol, all the consumption taking place in the building, no advertisement outside of the building for alcohol. What else we got? As far as the design goes, for the elevations, that'll be the main part. We don't really have any comments for the interior. Yeah, let me put up. Yeah, so for those that were curious, this is a plan, 152 North Main Street. Oh, that was nice. Yeah, so for the existing facade, we wouldn't really have any requirements for what's there already, but for any additions, just making sure that they comply with the commercial and ground floor window articulation guidelines. The main thing there would just be the zone of transparency, the 2 to 7 feet, and then having most likely you'd want to continue that brick theme throughout the building, or replace a brick and use a different material, whatever you're thinking for that. There would be no parking requirement because it is in district number 1, zone A for downtown. So obviously just utilizing the street parking. There is parking also pretty near from the city and for other parking lots. If there was an issue, you could always do a parking agreement with a nearby parking lot, but like I said, there is no official requirement. Any signage complying with chapter 305 and the downtown design guidelines, which is basically just the channel letter requirement, to either have it the externally lit or possibly considering internally lit as well. And then just the limit on blank walls. So on Main Street, I mean, I don't think that's gonna be a problem with what's already there, because your door would probably go in the center, and the only requirement is that no more than 20 feet without an opening. And then the building entrances, just they shall be emphasized with special architectural and or landscape treatments. And that if there is a rear door, that it would be a similar fashion. But it's just the standard downtown design guidelines. I know at the businesses that are already in operation, they comply with all those, so something similar or close to it would work for that. But that is all the comments for planning. The only thing we'd really need to discuss more is just the alcohol license thing. But we did speak with Jeff, and even if there were to be two, or one for the brewing and then one for the restaurant, we could do it under the same conditional use
Right, I
permit.
would just have to see the guidelines for the type 75. So if you can manufacture and have guest taps other people, otherwise it's just gonna be my beer only. That's, it's,
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to achieve. Is 148 is another address.
Mhm.
And then that would be a different permit altogether for
Okay.
use permit. And then the 75 would be at 152.
Okay.
So they're technically two different addresses.
Okay.
So the building
has
two addresses. Okay.
Mhm.
currently.
Currently, yes.
Yeah, so either way, that it sounds like you've already got most of that figured out. So I don't think it'll be too big a deal. We can work together. Be a cool.
Will look better than what it does. Right?
Yeah. And it'll hopefully give us some cool new eateries on downtown. We can always do some of those.
Thank you. Okay, any questions for Colleen? Okay.
Nope.
Okay, thank you. Javier, did you have any comments for engineering?
No, luckily for this one, all public improvements were done with the prior permit, so no comments from engineering.
Okay, thank you, Javier.
Mhm.
Clayton with fire?
Obviously, we'll need the sprinkler plans, fire alarm plans, required connections for the UL 300 system that's in the kitchen. What I would like to see, if you're gonna keep the upstairs and the downstairs separate businesses technically, I'd like to see the sprinkler company and the alarm company basically give us water flow for the upstairs and water flow for the downstairs, so we know when we're rolling in, which one is activated. It just requires a flapper above and a flapper below, and then.
I think it has that already.
And it may already. I couldn't remember, but I wanted to make sure if this project moves forward that we're thinking.
There
of
are
that.
two different pressure gauges, downstairs and then one. for the
Okay,
upstairs.
so yeah, we'll just want to make sure that it indicates that way, going through that process. The businesses, the restaurant bar is considered an A2. The brewing is an F2 as long as you are brewing less than 16% alcohol by volume. Because the building is sprinklered, there's no requirement for occupancy separation, as well as because you have an A2 above and an A2 below, there's no separation requirements because the building is sprinkled. So pretty much basically finishing out the sprinkler plan for the bottom side, and then the UL 300 plans for the fire suppression system in the kitchen. Obviously placing fire extinguishers as required. And then I believe the building already is equipped with a Knox box, so it'll just be adding additional keys. So pretty straightforward.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Clayton.
Like you said, separation, so you wanna do this whole thing in glass, do all that glass.
Yeah, since there's no occupancy separation, no fire rating that required, you could do glass where everybody can see it.
But this is separate, that's concerned about glass doors there, but he's glass everywhere.
Yeah, that'd be nice to have glass across there too, especially if you're sitting there.
Yeah, and you can see it.
Perfect.
Or even sitting way over here looking across.
Yeah,
Sorry.
you can see.
No, you're good.
Okay,
You're good.
whenever you're ready, we can move on to building.
James?
Okay, James, did you have any comments for this project?
No, I mean, most of my comments would be if there was any in the building, permit, plan review. I was thinking about what Clayton mentioned between the A2 and the A3, just looking into that for sure. If there was separation.
I looked at it's an A2 and an F2. The brewing is an F2 and the restaurants are A2s. And because the building is sprinklered, the occupancy separation table had no separation.
Oh,
requirement.
gotcha. I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, then yeah, we're good. I'm good.
Thank you, James. Mike, did you have any comments?
No comments on my side. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Robert.
I have no comments.
Okay, thank you, Robert. David, did you have any comments?
No comments.
Hey, Brianna, for refuse?
No, they already have the 3-bin service behind the palace, so we can just merge the two and maybe increase a day of service if needed, but otherwise I have no comments.
All right, thank you, Brianna. Hey, Mark, for police department?
No comments from the police department.
Thank you, Mark. And Arthur with park?
No comment.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I believe that concludes all the comments from the departments. You will be receiving these comments and a letter compiled to you in about 2 weeks. The next level submittal
Oh, the next level of submittal is just a conditional use permit.
application.
Okay. And being able to build permits to be able to start construction in there, when would that take place after the conditional use permits or?
I think that we could probably do it semi-simultaneously, just depends on.
Because I'm looking to get the infrastructure started on it while we're waiting for the permit.
I
would wait until the entitlements are approved
Okay.
by our city council.
Okay.
That way, you get confirmation that you'll be able to move forward.
Okay.
And just if they have any, if they or other departments have any things that they want included in there, they might require being part of the building permit process.
or including the conditions of approval for city council.
Okay. I can schedule that now for conditional use permit.
Wait until we send out the comments, or
Um,
how do you want to do this?
We can give an application.
we could fill out the application after this meeting, submit the fees, but we wouldn't be able to move forward with the application once you receive the final
Yeah.
comments,
Mhm.
which should be within 2 weeks. And then after
Probably
that,
about the same time, the conditional use permit hearing will come about 2, usually it takes a couple weeks anyways.
correct. So, that'll be the process.
Okay.
Cause we'll just need to figure out a few things as far as the
The
alcohol
process.
license, cause that's the main thing, and after we figure that out, should be pretty smooth sailing.
Okay, no questions, Gary?
Do we wanna stop the?
Yeah, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and end today's PRC meeting
For
at
accessibility.
2:27. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you soon.